Alessandro Pantoja versus Steve Erceg was announced as the UFC 301 Brazil fight. I do believe this is going to be the main event because Pereira said he would take the main event position if he won. I do think Jamal Hill's going to win at 300, and that's a quick 3-week turnaround. They're going to get beat up in that fight, so I don't know that Pereira is going to be able to make that quick turnaround. Regardless, we got Pantoja versus Erceg. I kind of like it. It is a completely random, crazy fight. Steve Erceg's talented, but he is the number 10 ranked contender in the division. This shows how much of a mess flyweight is right now because Pantoja kind of beat the shit out of everybody on his way to the title. So you can't give him Royval because they fought 5 months ago. You can't give him Moreno because Moreno just lost to Royval, and he's already lost to Pantoja 3 times. It gets tricky. The UFC said, screw you, Makayev, because they don't want to see him sniffing crotch anymore. They don't want to make these boring fights that no one wants to see because Makayev, let's be real, he's not as much of a seller. And at the end of the day, he kind of showed us where he is in that division. He's young. He's got more ways to go. I think he just gets ragdolled by Pantoja at that point. So I think they looked and they saw Steve Erceg's performance on the same card as Makayev, and they said Steve Erceg had an incredible performance, and they gave him the title fight. He knocked out Matt Schnell, did it very impressively, and this is a new, fresh matchup. We're not seeing the same matchups over and over and over again. You can't give it a Nickal because Nickal just lost to Royval. So he's coming off a loss. You can't give it a Kopp because Kopp just missed weight and he had a competitive fight with Felipe Dos Santos, who's not even a ranked contender. So it gets really, really tricky. I kind of like it. It's a new, fresh matchup. I think what they do need to do is load this card up, though. They can't just have that and then a couple of fights underneath that people are kind of interested in. I think you need to load it up, get Barbosa on that card. What you're going to see in the coming weeks is a UFC 301 matchmaker card. They've done a lot of the prelims, but I do want to fill out that main event, and I'll give you guys some videos on that coming shortly. But overall, Pantoja Erceg, it's a weird main event. It's not something that I fully expected. I kind of like it, though. And the people saying in the comments of Instagram, I'm not a casual, but who's Steve Erceg? You are a casual if you don't know who Steve Erceg is. The number 10 ranked contender in the world at flyweight. So you are a casual. Stop pretending that you're not. The other thing I want to talk about, and I'm so butthurt about it, I like Bo Nickal. He's talented. He's 5-0. He's a wrestler. I want him to get hyped. But the UFC is going to crush his name if they keep throwing him on pay-per-views. He's just going to garner hate from people for reasons that are because of the UFC. I get that they're trying to promote this guy. I really do get it. MMA Guru made a video talking about how his fans are the ones that will buy pay-per-views, and he's absolutely right. It's the families that are wrestlers. He's 100% right. It was a great point. But the UFC is going to hurt his stock with fans by pushing him too hard on the fans. We know this with MMA fans. They push back, and sometimes it's for no reason, just because it's fun to do. I get it. I like to do it all the fucking time. I do this shit all the time. Like, Sean O'Malley's the most fun fighter ever, and I've been busting his balls for 2 years. But the UFC is doing this thing where they're shoving him down your throat, and it's on the pay-per-view. You're paying to watch him just go out there and beat these low-level opponents. Now, if Bo Nickal fought an Alberto Duraev, if he fought a Jung Yo Park, if he fought somebody just outside the rankings that gives him a chance to start breaking in, or if he started fighting these Dagestanis that are supposed to be the better wrestlers, and this American wrestler just comes in and ragdolls them all over the place, just like MMA Guru said, that's going to build fucking hype. That's going to build a ton of hype. If he goes in and starts ragdolling these guys that just like to sniff crotch all the time, and he goes in there and he does it better than them, that's an American you're going to be able to sell on pay-per-views from that point on. The problem is you're putting him on a pay-per-view with a guy in Cody Brundage, who the only reason he's still in the UFC, he got a win recently, wasn't an overly talented win, but the fight before that, if he lost, he was going to get kicked out. But Jacob Malkoun hit him with an illegal strike, and he milked it, and he got the no contest, or he got the disqualification. That's the only reason he's still in the UFC. You're giving him a tomato can to open up the card. Of course he's going to ragdoll him. I don't know that that's building as much hype. If you put him against Cody Brundage, that's fine. But you put him on the prelims of 300. You don't put him on the main card of the craziest fight card you were ever supposed to make. You got guys like Yuri Prohaska who can sell, who has never had a fight that's not entertaining. He had the most entertaining fight that I think I've had the privilege of watching in Teixeira versus Prohaska. And you decided to put those guys on the prelims and putting Bo Nickal up there. I don't know. I don't like the decision made by the UFC, and I think they're putting Bo Nickal in a position to garner shit from fans that he doesn't deserve. The UFC are kind of doing this, and I get that he's going to be a generational talent for years to come. He's 26, 27 years old, and he's going to be around for a long time. He's very talented, but you want to build hype, put him against one of these guys like the Dagestanis that everyone thinks are the best wrestlers. Or if you're going to have him against Cody Brundage, you need him on the prelims. He just can't be fighting Cody Brundage on the main card. It's a little disrespectful. At the end of the day, I'm going to buy it because I'm a massive fan. I still want to see him win. And the rest of the card is absolutely loaded as well. This card just isn't a pay-per-view fight. Or this fight is not a pay-per-view fight. This is a prelim on the most legendary pay-per-view. Or if you're going to put it on a pay-per-view, wait till 302 at International Fight Week and do it or something like that. Just not UFC 300. I don't like what the UFC did here. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. To recap, it's Pantoja versus Erceg. Interesting main event. Little weird, but I kind of like it. And then Bo Nickal, does he deserve to be on the main card of UFC 300 if he's fighting Cody Brundage? Who would you like to see him fight? Let me know in the comments.